almost as much as Trump wants Greenland. Which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. So, oh, I told you it's my last year. What are you going to do about it? Something significant happened at the Grammys last night, and Donald Trump's response reveals more about his psychological state than any policy analysis could. The music industry's biggest night became a 4-hour referendum on the current administration. Artists called out ICE, performers made political statements, and the president watched it all unfold, posting furiously at 1 a.m. with threats of lawsuits. What we witnessed wasn't just celebrity activism. It was a demonstration of how cultural institutions are positioning themselves against federal power. And Trump's reaction shows exactly why it's working. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you explains the psychology of a president who desperately craves the approval of the same elites he claims to oppose. Let me walk you through what happened, because the sequence matters. It started early in the ceremony when Trevor Noah made a passing reference to who wasn't in attendance. The crowd's reaction was immediate and telling. Oh man, every single person here. John Legend is Phineas. Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here. Cheering. She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues. Actually, Nicki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nicki. I know they say it's you, but it's me. Look at it. Look at it, baby. That reaction set the tone for what followed. An entire room of industry professionals cheering the absence of someone associated with the administration. It's a small moment, but it reveals how cultural sentiment has shifted. Then, Bad Bunny, fresh off winning Album of the Year, delivered a pointed message about geography and citizenship. While I have you here, can I ask you a favor? If things keep getting worse in America, can I come live with you in Puerto Rico? Sure, I have some news for you. Puerto Rico is part of America. So don't tell them. Don't tell them, Benny. I need a plan B. Shh, don't tell them that. The subtext was unmistakable. Puerto Rico is part of the United States. Bad Bunny is an American citizen. The administration's rhetoric about deportation doesn't apply to him, no matter how much his political statements might irritate the White House. This connects to something that happened earlier in the week. Reports indicated ICE was planning to deploy agents at the Super Bowl specifically because Bad Bunny and Green Day were performing and had been critical of administration policies. That deployment was ultimately scaled back. Bad Bunny's Grammy moment was a victory lap, and Trump noticed. But what really triggered the presidential meltdown was Trevor Noah's closing joke. It touched on multiple sensitive points simultaneously. Song of the Year. Congratulations, Billie Eilish. Wow, that is a Grammy that every artist wants almost as much as Trump wants Greenland. Which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. So, oh, I told you it's my last year. What are you going to do about it? Greenland, Epstein, Bill Clinton, all in one joke. And the Epstein reference specifically set Trump off in ways that deserve examination. At 1 a.m., Trump posted a lengthy response on Truth Social. Let me break down what he said, because the language reveals his psychological state. He called the Grammys the worst and virtually unwatchable. He attacked Trevor Noah as a total loser and pathetic, talentless dope. Standard Trump insult vocabulary. But then he made a very specific denial. He wrote that Noah said, incorrectly about me, that Donald Trump and Bill Clinton spent time on Epstein Island. Wrong. I can't speak for Bill, but I have never been to Epstein Island, nor anywhere close. He then threatened to sue Noah, referencing his settlement with George Stephanopoulos as evidence of his willingness to litigate. Now, let me show you why this response is significant, because Trump's specific denial is carefully worded in a way that reveals more than it conceals. Trump denies going to Epstein Island. He doesn't deny knowing Epstein. He doesn't deny the documented social connections. He doesn't deny the photographs. He doesn't deny the flight logs that show him on Epstein's plane. He denies specifically going to the island. This is what lawyers call a limited hangout. You deny the most extreme allegations specifically, while leaving room for everything else. And there's the matter of Trump's previous statement about Epstein's island. When asked about it in an earlier interview, his response was notable. He said he never had the pleasure of going. Never had the pleasure. That's a strange way to describe not visiting a location associated with the trafficking and abuse of minors. It suggests disappointment rather than moral objection. It implies the island was desirable and he simply wasn't included. This connects to something fundamental about Trump's psychology. His relationship with elite society has always been characterized by desperate seeking of acceptance combined with resentment at perceived exclusion. Trump rails against elites rhetorically. He positions himself as the champion of ordinary Americans against coastal establishment figures. But his entire life has been spent pursuing exactly that acceptance he claims to reject. The gold toilets, the Manhattan penthouses, the celebrity friendships he cultivated for decades, the desperate pursuit of media coverage. All of it reflects someone who craves elite validation while being perpetually insecure about whether he truly belongs. When celebrities mock him at the Grammys, they're not just making political statements, they're confirming his deepest fear, that the cultural establishment will never truly accept him. That's why a comedy bit at an awards show produces a 1 a.m. posting meltdown and lawsuit threats. The wound is psychological, not political. Now, let me address the Epstein dimension directly, because there's a tendency to treat this as entertainment or conspiracy content, when it's actually documented criminal history. Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender who operated a trafficking network that victimized minors over decades. This is not speculation. He pled guilty. He served time. He was arrested again for federal charges. He died in custody under circumstances that remain disputed. The documents that have been released show extensive connections between Epstein and powerful figures across politics, business, and entertainment. Some of those connections may have been social and innocuous. Others clearly were not. Trump's connections to Epstein are documented. They socialized together. Trump praised Epstein publicly, noting his preference for young women. They shared social circles in Palm Beach and New York. None of this proves specific criminal conduct by Trump, but it establishes a relationship that Trump now desperately wants to minimize. The same pattern is visible with Elon Musk, who has recently had to address his own Epstein connections. Emails show Musk requesting introductions to Epstein's social circle. Musk now frames those emails as misconstrued. What's notable about both Trump and Musk's responses is not just the denial, but the tone. There's an undercurrent of resentment about exclusion rather than moral condemnation of what Epstein represented. This matters because these are the people currently holding power. Their psychological relationship to elite acceptance, their defensiveness about Epstein connections, their willingness to use legal threats to silence criticism, all of it shapes how they exercise authority. Now, let me show you the administration's official response to Epstein questions, because it reveals the strategy there. This review is over. We reviewed over 6 million pieces of paper, thousands of videos, thousands, tens of thousands of images, and which is what the statute required us to do. You know, it's interesting. Leadership on the Hill, Congressman Massey, Senator Schumer, are quick to complain. There is no way they have spent any time looking at the materials we produce, because I know the materials we produced. We produced them on Friday. By Saturday, they're already complaining about what we did. And by the way, apparently, Massey and others wrote a letter to come and review unredacted materials. I didn't get that letter yet. They leaked it to the press before they actually sent it to me. But yeah, that's absolutely totally fine. We have nothing to hide. Nothing. We never did. And our doors are open if they want to come and review any of the materials that we produced. The claim is that the investigation is complete, the files have been reviewed, and there's nothing actionable remaining. This is not credible. The Epstein case involves potential crimes across multiple jurisdictions, multiple decades, and multiple powerful individuals. The idea that a few weeks of review could comprehensively address all of that strains belief. What we're witnessing is the use of federal power to close rather than pursue an investigation that touches people currently in power. That's not law enforcement, that's protection.
The question for the future is whether these files will be genuinely investigated when political circumstances change, whether the victims who have waited years for accountability will ever see it, whether the powerful people documented in those files will face consequences. None of that is guaranteed, but neither is the current suppression permanent. Now, let me address why the Grammy moment matters beyond entertainment. Because cultural resistance has political consequences. When Bad Bunny wins Album of the Year and uses that platform to assert Puerto Rican-American identity, he's reaching millions of people with a message that contradicts administration rhetoric. When artists throughout the ceremony call out ICE and immigration policy, they're normalizing dissent in spaces the administration can't control. When Trevor Noah closes the show with an Epstein joke and Trump melts down in response, it demonstrates that mockery penetrates in ways policy arguments